And this is Lions Den. Today I'm here with some very special guests from the Houston Forward Times. I am here with Karen Carter Richardson, Chelsea Lenora, and Jeffrey L. Boney. Would you guys mind telling me a little bit about yourselves and the magazine? I'm sorry, not the magazine, the newspaper itself.
Okay, I'm Karen Carter Richards. I'm the proud daughter of Julius and Lenora Carter. Julius Carter is the founder of Forward Times, founded January 1960, and we've been in business 59 years and one of the South's largest African American newspaper, and we're just excited to be here.
I'm Chelsea Lenora. I'm the proud daughter of Karen Carter Richards, and I'm the business manager of Forward Times newspaper.
And I'm Jeffrey L. Boney. I am a native Houstonian, proud graduate of Jack Yates High School and Texas Southern University, and I serve as the associate editor of the historic Houston Forward Times.
That's good. So, what does Forward Times mean to you?
For me, it means legacy, the legacy of my parents, the continuing the dream that my father had for the African American community. We were always taught about community and the work we needed to do in the community, and I'm just really proud about that. The legacy that he left, and we continue to see it go forward.
For me, Forward Times means, I have to piggyback on my mom and say legacy for sure. I'm indicative that Forward Times means legacy. It means truth, it means power, and it means pride.
And for me, it's history. When you realize, when you go to a cemetery, there's a date of birth and a date of death, and there's a dash mark in between those two. And that dash mark represents everything you did or didn't do in the world. And know that being a part of Forward Times and knowing that the Forward Times made such an impact and is making such an impact in the black community and across the greater Houston area and the world is a part of that historic legacy, as the term has been used. I mean, I'm a part of history.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're an alumni from our school. Did you feel like the Forward Times had a big impact, big impact in your education or in your community for you when you were going to school here?
Going to school here at Jack Yates, no, it did not. I had no access to it. I did not become familiar with the Forward Times until my latter years, but I wish that I did have access to the Forward Times while being a student here, because I would have learned a lot more about what it means to not only be an African American, but also be an African American right here in Houston, to know what was going on right here in my own backyard, to learn about some of the historic figures that I now know about that came through not only Yates High School, but also in Third Ward and Emancipation and downtown, and just some of the things that I hear about now or know about now, I could have learned when I was younger. But now, young people like yourself and others have the opportunity to learn about not only the past that the Forward Times covered, but also the current things that we talk about as well.
So, what impact did your father want to make on our community with the Forward Times?
My father wanted to make the impact to let the community, to let the world know that we weren't just criminals or shown in a negative light, that black people were doing some very positive things. And also to expose a lot of the corruption and things that were going on during the civil rights movement. We wasn't afraid to write about that. We were known as the fact of life newspaper, meaning we would tell the truth, without fear or favor. So the kind of stuff that we talked about in Forward Times and still do today, you're not going to find that in the dailies. And there's no one sitting behind the editorial desk to chop up what we said and make it seem to be something different than what we were actually trying to say. When we write something, we write exactly what we want to say, and nobody can change that.
So, what made you all want to speak up for the community now? What made you want to speak up now?
You want to take that?
In the time of gentrification.
Well, there's nothing more powerful than the pen. And you have to be responsible for chronicling history in the right way. So many times, as was mentioned earlier, you have others that tell the story about us and to us and for us. And we have to be responsible for chronicling our own history and telling our truth in a way that the African American community needs it. And so for me, my passion as the editor and as a journalist is to ensure that we put that information out on a weekly basis in a way that black people know truly what's going on, and not only black people, but others outside of the black community know what's really going on with black people, about black people, for black people.
Well, thank you all. That's all the questions that I have for right now. And when we come back from our break, we'll be showing you some of the artifacts that they brought. All right, and we're back with our guests from the Houston Forward Times. So I see that you guys have brought some items for us today. What have you guys bought?
Well, we chronicle, years ago we would chronicle our papers in binders. And so I bought a binder from 1968 and 1975 that shows a year of what the coverage we did for that year. And we also just bought some pages to show you some different, how we cover the news and kind of articles that we would cover then and still do today.
So I see a board back here with several different women on there. What's that?
That's some of the debutantes of families that lived in Third Ward. And those were the debutantes that year that they would have this big debutante ball. So some of those, a lot of those women now are still professionals here in Houston today. But they were on that board, they were like, on that page, they were like 15, 16 years old. So we just chronicle that. I know of some of those ladies today.
So I didn't get a chance to really just look through the whole book, but I was looking through one and it was a page that caught my attention. And it was something about a young man getting, shot. And that's kind of like some of the things that go on now.
Exactly.
With the police brutality and things like that. So I'm trying to think of a way to say it. I didn't think that we had to deal with that then. Still deal with it now.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, being that we've been around since January 1960 and never missed a week of print, some of the same issues that we are dealing with today, we've been dealing with for decades. We've been dealing with for centuries. And prior to the black press's existence, in 192 years ago, there were a lot of things that weren't written. There were a lot of things that weren't chronicled. But now, through the black press, we've been able to chronicle a lot of that history. And so, yeah, that young person being shot back in the 60s or the 70s, there's some of the same issues that are going on today. But when you have access to knowledge and history, it can help you deal with some of the things that you're going on today. Like I think my grandparents used to tell me there's nothing new under the sun. And so there's a lot of things that we're dealing with right now, that we're dealing with today. Police brutality, Colin Kaepernick kneeling and all those things. There were black people back then that was raising their fists up and protesting racism and police brutality and some of the stuff that was happening to black people then. So it's kind of like full circle. We're dealing with some of the same stuff. So we need press.
And we can tell our story from,
Our side,
we don't have to
yeah.
read it in the dailies. We can tell our side of the story and not let them change it around. We tell exactly what happened.
So what are some of the other things that are, that are printed in the issue?
We have literally everything from sports, and that's on a national level of sports, NFL, NBA, but also collegiate sports. We really follow TSU closely and Jack Yates closely. Entertainment. I also double as the business manager and the entertainment editor. So we cover with entertainment, national as well as local. State and local news as it relates to politics, everything, community stuff, your kids graduating.
Getting married.
Exactly.
Someone passing away.
Getting divorced. Commentary, editorial pieces, literally some of everything from our perspective.
Church-related,
exactly.
religion.
Yeah.
So you must be constantly working.
All the time.
Okay.
You know, the amazing thing about small businesses is that you have to, I know my mom's mom always told her, you have to know how to do everything from the front to the back door. And we all, the three of us, wear so many hats. And because, you know, we have to know what everyone's doing. And we have to be involved at kind of every piece of the business. Every part is integral. So
To anybody who wants to be involved in the newspaper, anybody young who wants to be an editor, a writer, or just to do anything in the field of communicating and mass communications, what advice do you have for them?
I have to plug this because we didn't mention this before, but we have an internship program. And it's called the Julius and Lenore Carter Scholarship and Youth Foundation. And, you know, Julius and Lenore Carter were my mom's parents and my grandparents. And that scholarship foundation basically takes interns. We have a ton of interns that actually come from Yates. So a lot of students from Yates have come through to Forward Times and worked in the communications departments and stuff like that. And they've written articles. They've gone on to win like merit awards from the National Newspaper Publishers Association. So we actually work hand in hand with young people who have an interest in communications and journalism and photography and stuff like that. So we actually have them come through and work with us on a daily basis. So that's awesome.
And there's a saying, your network is your net worth. And so you have to learn to network. You have to build on the relationships you have and are building through the School of Communications or wherever you are. And you need to reach out. If you're a writer, then you need to reach out to the Forward Times or wherever you are interested in writing. Send some of your work, some of your pieces. If you're a videographer or a photographer or whatever it is that you're interested in, a radio person, go out and say to the TV stations or the radio stations or the magazines or the publications like the Forward Times, I'm interested in working with you. Would you have me? And you never know. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. So, you know, you have to say, this is what I'm interested in, and you never know where the chips may fall.
And you get some good experience.
Well, I'm trying to skim on everything. But I'm glad that you told me about the scholarship program because that does sound like a good opportunity for our students. Do you guys offer the same scholarship to other students at other schools, like
Absolutely.
just within the HISD school district, or?
Yeah, we do a lot of our interns come from Texas Southern University. We've even had some out in Fort Bend, I think at Hightower, I believe, and other schools at Houston Community College, U of H. We've had quite a few, so it doesn't matter. But I just seem to. Partial to TSU,
to TSU,
right in the heart of Third Ward.
We're right here. I don't really have any more questions because they were geared towards other things. But because I don't think it'll really fit with this, but a lot of the things that I'm looking at, they're very interesting. It's like very eye-opening because. Like I said, it's like our history is repeating itself.
It is. And, you know, it's like as a millennial, I know a lot of my peers, they don't know what Forward Times is, you know, and that's sad. And they're coming to know now, you know, and that's why I think what we have to say is always relevant. It's always timely. Print will always be relevant. And so I think it's amazing to be able to be on a platform like this and be able to speak with you so that you can, you know, see these items and stuff like that. So you can see just how relevant it is and how those same issues, some sadly, are still prevalent today. I think it's really important for, you know, young people to know, you know, who our truth warriors are, you know. So thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming today. And that's all we have for today. Thank you, Lions. That's all we have for today. And I hope you enjoyed the show.